What's up, everybody? It's your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. I have my contacts on, but also my screen blockers on, just so we can double glass it up tonight, okay? Listen, if you don't know who I am, I'm a YouTuber who manages $2 million in assets. And honestly, I've been on a very unique journey, and I try to share it with everybody here on YouTube. And if you don't know, you can grab the book, Smartphone Millionaire, How to Invest in People, Businesses, and Real Estate from the palm of your hand. Before I wrote this one, I wrote the Rise of the 1099 Economy. And that book still sells because I think some people just woke up, right? And I brought on my lovely host, Mr. Dr. Dix. Tell them who you are, and you've had thousands of students and all kinds of stuff. Let them know.
My name is Dr. Patrick Dix. I am from South Carolina. I have over 25 years of technology experience. I've been a simulation designer. I've been a database administrator. I have designed stuff for the Department of Defense, classified stuff for the Department of Energy. And right now, I've been a faculty member for 7 years. I still work a full-time job, but I've taught over about 13,000 students at various schools, undergrad computer science, graduate MBA, have a doctorate of science in information systems and communications. And I have a very diverse skill set, which I will explain more tonight when Erica and I cover certain topics on to how to help everyone prepare for the storm that's about to come.
Well, first, everybody come into the chat. Make sure you drop your city and state because we like interacting and knowing where you guys are coming from. Two, I forgot my headset, so I don't want to hear about the audio. It is what it is. So, number one, these are two numbers that I want people to really understand is they predict 36 million jobs are going away because of automation. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, they predict 31 million jobs are going away because, well, not necessarily going away, but people in the trades are retiring.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 31 million people retiring. Then you're talking about another 36 million people getting out because of automation. In my mind, I'm like, hey, you need to either be in tech or trade. And I've talked about this a lot on this show, that top 4 things you'll see. And Glenda Cameron pointed it out earlier in one of his videos that I've been talking about jobs. And I talk about jobs because honestly, it was when I was working a job, working 2 jobs, sweating, like, okay, what can I do to take myself to the next level? What business can I create to divert from this type of hard labor? And some people are going to let themselves get all the way to the hard labor and then be like, oh, I should have started a business. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just trying to help funnel the traffic to where I know it's going for the next 2 to 5 years. And that's literally sales, managers, tech, and trade. That's it. That's where people are going to go into those 4 fields. And so when everybody's like, oh, just go cybersecurity, let's just go tech. That's not answering your question, and that's not really providing a solution to you. Okay? So, Dr. Nick, we've done a show together before. You talked about 50 million jobs are being replaced. I'm telling people right now, you got 31 people who are mechanics, plumbers, electricians. Their backs are hurting. They're tired. Okay? They're 70 years old. They just can't do what they used to do. Yeah. Also, I'm here in Texas, and we just went through this storm, and, you know, I'm going to just say this. People are still messaging me and not watching the full video. And that just shows me already your learning is off. And I'm going to go on a little mini rant, then we're going to kick it off. But I literally woke up to another 50 messages a day where people try to ask a lot of questions. And I literally simply go, honey, I get it. You think you're sharp, but I'm sharper. Go back and watch the video. You just asked me all the questions that are answered in the 1 hour free video. You literally have people who cannot even sit still long enough, Dr. Dix, to watch a free video with instructions included to get into a field where they're going to be able to have hundreds of contacts, go to multiple cities, be paid for the travel, and they can't even watch an hour video free. Yeah. So I already know when we talk about 50 million people losing jobs, it's just because they can't even follow instructions. That's why employers are so ready for AI. They're like, and I'll give the reference to the movie, but go ahead. Come on, Becky.
Yes, the thing about automation is to start off and to state a little bit more about my background. I wrote a dissertation on automation. So I have a proven document on ProQuest. So for all the people out there say he don't know what he's talking about, I did extensive research. I have a dissertation on ProQuest The title of it is The Automation of Manufacturing and the Potential Effects on Rural Communities in South Carolina. If you were to take my study and to put it in every city in the United States, the validity of it, that's one of the biggest things when you do a dissertation. You can ask the same questions and you will get the same results. The bottom line is many jobs are going to be automated. Not only automated, a lot of jobs are not even coming back. What people don't realize is this pandemic shook the world up to progress it forward. And a lot of people are out here with their thumbs up their butt and their thumbs up their nose. Let's just be honest. We're going to start to just hit y'all with facts. You have to think about it. The pandemic really hit March 2020 of last year. If you ask the average person when their job had them sitting at home, what did they do? Your job at one time was paying you for up to 90 days to stay away from people. What did you do at those 90 days besides bitch, moan, and complain about white people? Just calling it what it is. You now are in almost March 2021 with the same problem. You're not advancing. You're not using your skill set. You're up here complaining about nobody won't give you anything. I've been on numbers of Erica's videos, and I'll see people write comments. I'll see people talk in the chat. As she was stating earlier, you have to watch the whole video to get the concept. There was the guy on there, I think last night, the adjuster was saying, basically, I get to travel for free and be an adjuster, which is, if you're a single person with no kids, you make a lot of money being an adjuster. Insurance companies have so many claims that they have to file that they will pay somebody to go be an adjuster. You get trained. I was listening to the young man saying, I get to travel for free and see nice cities. And Erica was saying, oh, you get to travel for free. So you would think if you're single and don't have any responsibilities and no one's sick, you can take up on this because you get to travel, you get paid, and it's valuable experience, and you get to network with people. But many people now, with it being March, are still waiting for Joe Biden to pass the $1,400 stimulus bill, the $1,400 stimulus checks. This is another thing that's about to mess a lot of y'all up. In that bill, they're talking about making $15 minimum wage. $15 minimum wage is going to ruin it for everybody. A lot of people don't understand. Oh, well, I work at this place. If you make $9 an hour and they have to make it 15, they have to backdate everybody's pay to compensate for those $6 an hour. You know what the company's going to do? They're going to say,
cut it. Peace out. Cut it. Goodbye. They're going to make a layoff.
And, I don't know why they're pushing that. I know people need to be paid more money, but putting that now when people need jobs, to me, is really unprecedented. And $15 an hour. Okay, if you get paid $15 an hour, 5 hours a week, that's $75 versus when you were getting $8 an hour times 20 hours a week, that's $160. Even if a company institutes and has to follow the federal mandates, they will cut your hours, and the consumers, myself, Erica, and people listening to this live podcast will bear the burden of paying the higher price for whatever we're seeking. So people have to realize, not only are they going to try to raise the minimum wage and us eliminating jobs, a lot of the jobs to where y'all were getting over with a minimum task set are going to go away forever. So as we say on the Hall of Game with O'Shea always says, we have untalented people now making money, and it's about to catch up. The same thing with the work industry. You're on a job to where it required no talent, and now you got to pay the piper. Now you some way saying, I don't know what to do with my life. I don't have a skill set. How in the hell are you 25 years old and you don't have any money? As Kevin Samuels was saying at one time, if you're single, you should not be broke. You could work 4 to 5 jobs. How are you broke at 25 years old? And I'm 36 years old. I just bought my first brand new car at 32 years old in 2017. I bought used cars. The only reason I bought a brand new car is because both the cars together had 500,000 miles on them. I needed something to where if I wanted to drive someplace, I could just jump in the car and go. But in these times we're living in, and then I saw what Erica was talking about last night, and I researched it more. 40-something million people, I think 44% of the population makes $18,000 a year. And people are comfortable with that kind of wage. But these are the same people I can tell you from experience that laughed at everybody in school saying, "Oh man, you smart, man. You know, ain't nobody worrying about school." When you're our age, Erica and I are the same age. When you get to
my age out here.
well, I'm just
telling my personal business, Dr. Dick. God.
Well, sorry. To be honest, what people have to remember is when you get to our age group, men don't realize no woman wants to deal with a man that no woman wants to deal with a guy that has a shitty credit score that can't get a loan for a house. You got to have a car. You need to have the minor things. So a lot of men and women right now our age don't even have the necessities. I am going to get married this year, and I don't need a co-borrower for the mortgage application. People always say, "Oh, it's a difficult application." I sent the stuff in. They said, "Oh, well, go get what you want. This is the amount you prove for, and this is the lowest. You can get the lowest APR." People don't realize having your shit together makes things so much easier. And I believe in delayed gratification. I sat at home with my parents. When I was younger, people laughed at me and said, "Oh man, you live with your mama and daddy and all that stuff." Because I was going to SC State driving back and forth. See, these are the lessons that a lot of young folks don't take it to heart till you get older and you broke as hell. Saying, "Oh man, most of y'all want to live out on your own so you could be a whore, but you don't have the money to pay for stuff." Just calling it what it is. If you ask most older people now, they will tell you, "I wish I would have stayed at home with my parents and saved up my money." So while everybody else was out there playing around in the streets, I had my head in a book. I was driving back and forth to South Carolina State, working at Walmart, couldn't do much. So I thought, as I said before, everybody was getting ahead of me till I got older and realized many of the people were playing around in life, and I passed a lot of those folks. So a lot of the people now that are about to not have a job, y'all are in the same situation. You out here trying to play the game of life, but don't have any insurance. You're about to run into something right now that myself, Erica, and no other podcaster can help you from. We can't make jobs for people. All we can tell you to do is what avenues to get into. And we'll be sitting up here lying to you, telling you, "Oh, it's easy to get jobs because you got an education." It's even tougher to get a job with an education because everybody else has the same degree. So you got to put yourself in a position to say, "What can I do to make myself different from the previous applicant?" People, you really have to sit down and hone in on what you are going to do with your life, because life is really about to throw everybody a curveball. Don't think the coronavirus messed up life. It actually not messed it up permanently. The coronavirus messed up life to where now everything is accelerated, because a lot of the things companies couldn't study when the company was running, they had the advantage to get market analysts to look at everything. So things are really about to take off, and a lot of y'all are really about to be homeless. I see homeless people when we go out and about. We're gonna have homeless men, homeless women. A lot of y'all now shacking up just so you don't lose your house or your car. And a lot of this could have been prevented because you didn't want to plan for life. Y'all, I was thinking about this before we came on and be quiet. A lot of y'all men could stroke, but you broke. And a lot of y'all women can twerk, but you can't find no work. Plain and simple.
Man, so crazy. That's the quotable, y'all. Somebody put it in the chat. That's the quotable for tonight. The reason I made the thumbnail, the movie Falling Down, is because if you check out that movie, it literally could be yesterday. And it's from 1993. And it was almost like a prediction of the future, that there would be people losing their jobs. They would mentally couldn't even take it, right? And would be basically falling down. And the crazy part about it is, even now, I don't know if you guys know, Dell Computers has like 14 buildings. But out of the 14 buildings, most of the Dell employees were only in 7 buildings. And then out of 7 buildings, like, lots of people were at home. And I remember meeting people who, Dr. Nick, they were 52 years old. And I was like, "Why are you working at a grocery store?" well, I used to work at Dell, and then when I got laid off, I kept waiting for a job to pay me the exactly same amount, and it never happened. And now I'm freaking working at a grocery store. It was like the craziest stories I kept hearing, and I would be like, you should have taken any job. You should have been improving your skills. You should not be at to the point where, I mean, I'll just tell the truth. One of the guys, he had a big old house here in Austin, 1990s Round Rock. He's a 5-bedroom house. His wife divorced him, left him. Mm-hmm. And he rents all the rooms out to younger guys. And no matter what happens, every year I've been living here, several of the men in the house get a girlfriend, get a wife, get married, move out of the house, and it's still there. Late 50s, renting all the rooms out of his house out. Because he doesn't want to let the house go. And I'm like, Austin has made so much money, you could literally sell this house and start over. But it's almost like he's still holding on. And another thing I wanted to really address people is, looking good with no money, it ends about 32. And I've said this because I went on O'Shea Duke Jackson's channel, was it 2 years ago, I think? And we had over 600 men sign up for credit repair with the partnership company I was working with at the time. And we would get on the phone to do the intake calls, and a lot of those guys, good-looking guys, we saw their driver's license. I'm like, hey, watch out now. And what ended up happening, Dr. Dix, is they had gotten to a place in life where they were either stuck living with their mom, they couldn't get a car, child support was on their credit, or they were trying to get a new woman and couldn't get with the new woman because all these things were on their credit. And it was like the average number was that 32 to 34. And it didn't matter they were 6 foot tall. It didn't matter that they were super good looking. All the other issues and problems they were having, they needed credit repair, right? And so I just want you guys to understand that people shifting right now in those 30s and 40s, still looking for work or still looking to keep the same type of job you had before, like that's got to majorly shift. You need to get into a technical trade, tech-based, or a physical labor trade. Now, you're going to see a lot more men, whether they believe it or not. There's a lot of young men, if they're smart, they're going to come out of this thing being able to eat, have a roof over their head, and be okay. Because they'll move into welding, plumbing, all these jobs that have good money. A lot of these women, like I kept telling y'all, I still want to write a book about how it's going to be, you're going to be like, man, where's your, all these women are going to be at home with somebody or a bunch of women living together in a house. And I see that here in Austin. I see women who every year they're trying to book up to live somewhere, right? 4 or 5 ladies deep in a big old house. I see it all the time. And every year the women are complaining because 1 or 2 girls get married and now they got to find somewhere else to live. It's crazy. And there's some things I had said, but yeah, Falling Down movie, I would put it into equivalent of reading the book, Who's Moved the Cheese? Someone Moved My Cheese, because it's like, all of a sudden you realize the cheese has moved, but you're late to figuring it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you ask a lot of people, perfect example, we know people that have kids that are going to graduate high school this year. Your kid is 17. This is not the time to be having a conversation what you're going to do with your life. This is something that you talk to them about when they're 13, 12. So I see kids all the time close to our area, pants sagging, Jordans on, but you can't read. And people will say, how can you tell they can't read? Because if you're putting more emphasis on how you look, you're trying to cover up something. And the average working person, unless, let's say somebody spends $200 on a pair of shoes. I know I wouldn't, but I'm just saying if somebody wants to do that for some dress shoes, but a lot of y'all are trying to look successful instead of become successful. And it's catching up. The rent is due now. The bills are overdue. We can only help you guys out so much, but a lot of y'all went to the clubs. Oh, and I remember in the middle 2000s, this is when Lil Jon and the East Side Boys Get Low and Nelly and all this stuff. So everybody was at the club 2001 to about 2010 partying. And I look at some of those folks. I hung out with my homeboy and we'll recollect. And he said, man, they look like bums now. And I just put people's names in on Facebook. And I said, how are we the same age? And you look like you 76 years old. And you know, they just don't have a plan for life. People has always, you know, people had always criticized. They would say, "Man, you can't prepare for everything." God, both of my parents are passed. They're not here. They're deceased. Well, it's the same thing but duplicated. But the thing is, my parents taught my siblings and I about life. Popularity wasn't important. They taught us nobody's going to give you anything. You have to work. And I would tell anybody now, those lessons, especially with my dad, he had an auto paint and body shop, would take myself and my brother. I said, those are hard lessons we learned about being men. A lot of men don't know what it is to be a man right now. You can't call shots in a household when you pretty much are not the breadwinner. Oh man, she got to do what I say. If you want that kind of power, or you want a woman to submit to you, you need to be doing 95% of the bills. You can't be doing that 50-50 stuff saying, man, you know, she need to do what I say do. You coming into the game with not even any kind of skill set. My biggest thing I tell anybody listening, you need to be where you can make money from anywhere in the world. Your laptop is your bank account. Basically, all you got to do is turn on your laptop and you can get jobs. You can go on vacation in Miami, Florida and call it a work vacation. You spend 2 days partying, you spend 10 days getting money. But a lot of y'all just don't understand the concept. You're out here trying to look like something you're not. Basically, what usually happens, people that really have their stuff together roll up on the scene when you have been procrastinating, and the other folks can't, and the other folks will say, oh, so I'm the finished product. I'm not a partial product. So basically, you've been trying, somebody else already went ahead and did it. You're getting afraid. You know, a man will be afraid to take a chance on his life, but won't take a chance to go bang somebody else's wife. Please, somebody explain that to me. You climb through a window to bang somebody's wife, but you won't take a chance to go try to make your life better. If I tell you, hey, spend $1,500 to go enroll in a technical school up front, you'll say, man, that's too hard, but you taking life chances to climb through somebody's window to bang their wife. Well, you know, what kind of crap? You know, that it's the analogies on life. And we're sitting up here. The cost of living is accelerating. If I don't know, you live in Texas, gas in South Carolina is $2.70 a gallon. Cats still running around in them $90,000 Hellcat Chargers, boom, you know, flying all the road with the Flowmasters and everything on them, you know, pumping. I'm saying, man, gas is almost $3 a gallon. So I don't know, you remember, Erica, remember during the recession, gas was about $4 a gallon 13 years ago. And over here in South Carolina, I was going to SC State during the time. I remember. Say again.
That's a lot of driving. You was real driving.
Yeah, it's Orangeburg from where I live is only 45 minutes. So I would go to school. I would try to get my classes twice a week, or I would try to get them 3 to 4 times a week. But I remember gas was like $3.60 a gallon in like October of 2008. And I am telling you, it was some days where I said, I got to put gas in my car or I got to eat right now, you know, because it was getting tough. I said, I'm still not going to move on campus. I can live with my mom because my dad died in 2003. It was just myself and my mom. I said, no matter if gas goes to $5 a gallon, I did the math, $7,000 to live on campus, or I take my refund check, put it in my bank account and pinch off of it. That's what I did. And you know, I think about times like that now. You know, people lost their jobs at manufacturing facilities in my area. And then in 2011, we had a union strike to where when Nikki Haley was the governor of South Carolina, there was a big manufacturing plant. The union wanted some kind of deal. So the deal fell through. So all the people got laid off. You know what they did? They hired a temp agency and said, we were paying you $25 an hour. We'll pay somebody $9 an hour. What people don't realize is those people have stacks of papers of applications of people that'll work for $9 an hour, and they're temp. So the insurance, so the temp agency, you really getting $16 an hour, but the temp agency getting $7 an hour off each one of y'all. If they employ 1,000 of y'all, that's how they make their money.
That's really how they make it. I mean, trust me, I'm here in Austin, and I remember them just relentlessly calling places because there's so many people moving to Austin. And, you know, the other day at our apartment complex, there was a black porter. He had tattoos on his face. And I was like, man, they're using him as temp work. He only getting paid $12 an hour. And really what he's doing out here, in 15, 18. So everybody keeps asking me what jobs are we talking about. In the description, I put an article from New York Times or whatever. And if you read the article, it talks about 36% of jobs are going to be reshifted. Like, just because the pandemic's over doesn't mean it's over. And I'm going to go 2 stories with this, but jobs going away in the article are hotel workers, restaurants, downtown shops, administrative jobs, human resources, food service workers, brand ambassadors, even physical therapists, reduce the amount because of in-person contact. Read the article. Also, I want to tell you, today I went to the Cryo Body Works place here in Austin, and the owner was there. And here's how small the world is. I went to a new bank today. I'm talking to the actual manager of the bank. It's just her and 2 other people there. She said there used to be 10 of them at the bank. Now they just leave her with 2 people to help her do everything at the bank. And so she's chatting up with me, and she's like, "You're on YouTube?" And we're talking about YouTube. We're talking about stuff. And I was like, "Yeah, I got to go to the sauna real quick to go sweat it out." And she said, "Well, where are you going?" And I tell her where I'm going. She's like, "Oh my God, he owns that plaza. We gave him the business loan to buy and re-clean up that plaza." And this has only been like, I think 2.5 years he's owned this plaza, maybe a year and a half. I go into his place. He's at the desk of the sauna place. And I said, "Oh man, what you doing in here?" "I just went by your favorite bank." And he started laughing, and then we started talking about being business owners. And he was like, "It's so hard to find young people to work." I'm like, "Even in a pandemic?" He's like, "Yeah, I have a bunch of moms come in and take shifts." Now, this man owns a whole plaza, y'all, and he's having to physically come in and cover a medical spa place because he can't find people who, one, are going to come work on time during the pandemic or some of these low wage work. Now, the other part of what I was trying to kind of get you guys to understand is a lot of people are overestimating their skills. Now, this past week, I'm just jokingly bringing this up. Everybody was talking about how Lionel Richie's 71 with a 30-year-old and Al Sharpton's got a 30-year-old. And I'm like, we spend more time in this dream future where we're going to be old, but we're going to have money when we old to get somebody young.
Yep. Exactly.
This is some of the most crazy stuff I'm seeing on the internet because it's called escapism.
Yep.
That's really what it is. It's like escapism from the reality of that life is going to get very hard for several of you.
Yep.
Very quickly.
Totally
Not a distant future. Not you got 20 plus years to take care of yourself. When I brought on Tim Jackson, he said you're not going to be able to buy a house in 5 years. It's because it's going to be a massive shift in employment, a shift in credit. The other day, my friend was telling me how he works at a dealership and there's over 300 people on staff on the dealership. And they're already like, "Well, who can we cut?" He's like, every month, that's all they talk about. Who can we cut? And most dealerships, you're halfway commission. You're getting paid like $7 an hour. You're a salesperson. It's based off of you selling cars. And even they are talking about reduction. And so I just get really amazed by our internet focus because, you know, we're on the way to a permanent underclass, to be truthfully honest, where we never come out of it. We never get enough credit to get out of it. Right now, I'm paying to get into mastermind. And as soon as I got in the mastermind, they're like, "Oh, let me call this other bank over here, girl. You in where, Austin? Let me help you hook you up." And this massive push you guys see me doing to get to a certain income level is because I see that future. I see it. Like the banker today was like, "Girl, do you know how few people I meet make this much money you're making? And I'm not even making that killing according to others." And she was like, "I haven't seen this much income in about a month and a half. People requesting for loans." And I'm like, this is crazy. So incomes are extremely low. That $18,000 a year is a real number. And we all have access to these laptops, so we don't have to be forced to make this low amount of money. You're going to have to study an hour a day and get better.
Yep. And
that easy living is over.
Yep.
Did you see the video where I talked about the home inspector the other day? And people had such pushback. Well, I don't know anybody. I can't get connected. I'm like, that's the whole point. These companies are sending you around, and all you should be doing while you're working this home inspector job is collecting a Rolodex of people you can talk to later. We're just talking about 90 days to 120-day jobs. These people are willing to go live poor for the rest of the year instead of making a big sum of money for a month. And that's kind of the future of work, really, is going to be these certain companies that only hire you for seasonal. Like everybody's gonna start hiring for seasonal. Oh, it's slow. Goodbye. I mean,
Yep.
prime example, the post office right now in North Carolina and Texas, the government is kind of squeezing them, so they're not giving anybody else any more access to the union, right? And so they're hiring all these part-time workers who can get as many hours as they want while it's slam busy. Well, the post office has been slam busy for 2 years now because of the virus, and I'm meeting people back in North Carolina who will make $2,000 a week, Dr. Dix, work for 2 months and then quit, and then come back in a couple more months because the post office is so desperate for people. They're like, all right, we're gonna give you another shot. You gonna come in on time? Yeah, I'm gonna come in. Isn't that crazy? Like they're making $2,000 a week and they'll work for 4 weeks, make $8,000 and go sit down for a while. Because the cost of living is so low, people think, well, there'll always be a job. I can do silly stuff like that. So go ahead, Dr. Dix. I'm sorry. I'll rant if I'm allowed.
No, you had a bunch of great points about, people not having consistency. And the thing is, when last February came before I graduated school in May, I applied for about 900 teaching jobs. This is the thing. There are a lot of people. I'm going to say something that probably hurt a lot of people feeling. A lot of people get master's degrees and doctorate degrees in very stupid things. I don't know. I have a doctorate. I have a computer science, an MBA, then I have a doctorate of science. I talked to my classmate from Robert Morris to help her out. She graduated with me with the same doctorate degree to tell her to talk to these people. And I said, I can't name more than 10 Black people that have a doctorate degree in a STEM field. We all get degrees in stupid shit. So when there's an opportunity to make $100 and something $1,000, you can't make it. If you go online now and put in technology adjunct faculty, most of the jobs need a master's degree with 18 credit hours in a STEM field. We have people out here with master's degrees in bullshit. So you spent all that money to get a graduate degree, but you can't get a job now, and you're top, and you complaining all you can make is $50,000 a year. People, I knew when I did my computer science degree, there were only 2 people that graduated when I went to Webster in Columbia, South Carolina. I said, I'm not going to get a master's of arts in information with an emphasis in information technology management. I'm going to do the MBA. It was 36 credit hours versus 51. So I did the 51 credit hours. I did the MBA. Then I did the emphasis in information technology management. Out of that whole school, it was me and another person that only graduated with that. There were like 40 people that did the Masters of Arts in information technology. 15 credit hours separated you from an MBA from an MA. And people don't look at saying, most people say, I want to get out of 18 months. I look at it as if it's an investment. If it would have took me 5 years to get the degree, I would have did it. I see the long-term vision of the process. And that's what's messing up a lot of people now. You were talking about the Lionel Richie thing. Me and my
They're
fiance,
looking for this future. It's like in the future, I'm going to be an old man with money. Yeah. And it's like they pissed away 20 years.
And
it's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
We talk about a lot of stuff, my fiance and all, because I'm going to tell you, the smarter you get, the less smart people you really can talk to, because everybody will not have your vision and they don't understand what you're talking about. So there's only going to be maybe a handful of people that understand the vision 20 years down the line. So she'll say, you never smiled. I said, there ain't nothing to smile about now. It's about getting to the next level. I have fun and stuff. And she'll say, man, you don't joke, you be uptight. I told her, how I relax when I walk into a store and I could buy anything I want. If we want to go on vacation, once we get married, we could do that. This is something else. Do you realize how many people are surprised that myself and my fiance do not live together? She has her own house. I have my own stuff. People are like, oh, y'all don't live together. No, I said, I will never live with a woman unless I am married. Men understand that. Men, if y'all listening, you don't live with women unless you're married. Women don't live with a man unless you're married. Say, for instance, y'all break up. Well, see, this is how poor minds think alike. You make $12 an hour. I make $12 an hour. We'll make $24 together. We could pay the bill. Okay, not knowing when something goes bad, somebody got to get kicked out. So you done gave up your apartment or your house to live with somebody. Until you are married, screw what everybody else say. Trust the process. And if you have a vision for life and it has been effective, you stick with it. I know I was not going to live with her. She wasn't going to live with me, because if something went wrong, I have my stuff. She has her stuff. We don't have no kids. She don't have no kids. We can move forward, because there are people. She told me they were engaged and bought a house together. I do not buy a house to live with somebody unless I have a marriage license.
Do you know how many stories? I'm in a ton of Facebook groups, and every day there's some woman like, he kicked me out, I got out, and they're like, your name's on the mortgage. He can't kick you out. And like the craziest stories I've ever heard of my life. And shout out to Nick Taylor, he cracked me up. He's $15 super chat. But Erica, I'm too old to retrain. There's a lot of folks going to be in trouble here before the fall, and I'm not 70 years old, and I don't want no 30-year-old female. I mean, you know, to me, some of that is like fantasy land.
Yeah.
Al Sharpton and them have been famous and on TV for years. I mean, even if you just look at Kevin Samuels, whose channel has a lot of eyeballs, girls are like, can I come on your channel? Just so they can get some fame from the situation. So again, you know, a lot of these people are living in a fantasy, and they're like, well, when I'm 45, I'm going to get it together. Brother, that's not how that works.
No,
a lot of people think, well, I'm going to be a 50-year-old man, and maybe I might have kids at 50. The average black man dies at 65.
Yep, from stress.
So you giving that kid 15 years, if that, you might just give him 5.
And what men don't understand, what a lot of men and women don't understand, you got to have your own stuff together before you request that of someone else. I'm a man. Well, my bad. I am a grown ass man. Let me put it to you like that. I'm a grown ass man because I can take care of myself and take care of other things. You earn the respect of women when they realize this man really don't need my money for anything. He doesn't need me to accomplish anything. I can be with him because he is on his shit. Long as you stay on your purpose, if that woman will never leave you, she'll talk all the trash. But long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, nobody will have a problem. Because at the end of the day, when you on a jet going to another country, they'll say, oh, this was the hard work. Oh, we're not struggling. Oh, we're ahead of the game. My fiance and I, we have wrote out our budget already, what it'll cost us to live for the month. I've already set aside money. See, this is how you get ahead of the game. While everybody else was playing around in life, I was driving my raggedy Honda, driving my Altima, and I have a Honda Accord. This is how I tell folks, this is how you play the game. Let everybody else laugh and be stupid, and you laugh to the bank. Save your money. You know, the first thing I did, I said, if I know I'm going to get married, I accumulated a good bit of debt to go to college. So what's the first thing I did? I got all my debt and paid it down. This is no lie. By the time we get married, I would have paid off $50,000 worth of stuff. That's what I've been doing while everybody else been bitching and complaining about the economy. I've been working extra jobs. I've been doing everything. So when we get married, we already know what our biggest bills are. Nobody has credit card debt. All we will have is a mortgage and student loan payments. All my cars are paid for. They old and raggedy. I don't need to buy another car. I don't need no Lexus and whatnot. I drive a little raggedy Mazda to work, and I drive my little Altima and my little Honda. That's all I drive. I don't.
Altima is the car sponsor of Black people everywhere. If you're in Atlanta and you get hit, it's usually by an Altima. If you're in Georgia, period, and you get hit, it's an Altima. She's looking for a check. Somebody almost tried to hit me when I drove through Atlanta. I was like, not today. You're not about to jam on me. You're not about to hit me today with that Altima. Everybody look in the chat right now. SNS Consulting is one of our company sponsors, and Mentor Shelley. They do resume work. Please hit them up. I know the other day y'all flooded their office with requests. I'm even flooding her office with requests. It's important to follow procedure and steps when you do contact them. Again, it's SNS Consulting code. This is her right on the screen. And Mentor Shelley, they do resume work, and they also, Tamika is in the chat, and they help you work on interviewing when you are going to interview some of these tech companies. So again, a lot of things are the language, right, Dr. Dix? Like a lot of times I talk about, oh, you need a certificate, you need this and that. a lot of times it's the language and how you dress.
Yep.
I remember I went to a job interview one time, and I looked at everybody in the office, and I looked at myself, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not gonna get this job. And it wasn't that it was poor quality; it just didn't fit the vibe of the office. And I determined to myself, I never want to be in a position where in order for me to get income to eat and live, I gotta dress a certain way. I was like, oh no, when I started, even with this office. Two Asian men came to the door the other day and was like, can we see this office? And I was like, no, I'm in here. And Greg, my worker, was here. So we let him walk around and see the office. And they're like, oh, we would love to have an office in this area. It'd be so great. It's near our home. And I'm like, well, good luck. I hope you get it. Hope you get the backside office. And I don't see this as a big thing because it's less than $1,000 a month to rent this place. But I've talked to people who are like, Erica, to get a whole room at WeWork is $1,600. And I'm like, I have 3 rooms and a great room and a conference room and a bathroom for $1,000. Like, why pay those prices? And so I just think people in general just don't understand business, renting spaces, having employees, any of this. They just changed the PPP for people who are solopreneurs and people who have less than 20 employees, because they're trying so hard to get the money to people who, let's just be honest, 60% of Black and Latino people are not filling out the form. So the paperwork ain't over. So it's getting really crazy out here.
It is, and a lot of people don't understand how money works. That's a very bad problem. People don't understand that you make 6 figures a year. One of the biggest things you need to do is pay your debt off, because a debt is a slave to the borrower. If you can get out of debt fast as possible.
Yeah.
You don't need to be buying all these big cars, big houses, trying to show off for the streets, as they say. Credit card bills all ran up traveling. A lot of y'all traveling, no, you can't afford it. $3,000. Okay, for instance, it's a pandemic and we got idiots taking advantage of traveling instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to sit my ass down and find a way to make some money. Well, the plane tickets and stuff cheap. No, you need to find a way to make extra money. Somebody will say, well, I don't have a skill set. How do I earn one? You can go to a technical school. Start off there. I started off at a technical school. There's nothing wrong with going to a technical school. Don't let people shame you for going to a community college, because, back in the day, the misconception was, oh, you're going to a community college, you're dumb. This is the biggest thing I want to tell everybody. Don't let people make you feel bad for stuff in life. If your name, they can call your name dog shit. As long as you're getting a paycheck, that's all that matters.
That's your 5th cuss word today. No more. You're trying to mess up my accent.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
This ain't OK Channel.
No, I'm not. But the thing is, y'all have to remember that people really don't want to see anybody else doing better than them. Many of your listeners are very smart, very bright. What's holding them back is family members. What else is holding them back is themselves. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you're the only person that you really need to be worrying about. Because somebody will say, I have kids. If you don't take care of yourself first, how are you going to take care of your children?
Listen, I spent, and people may know this from the channel, I spent the first year of both my nephews' life. I relocated myself to be in the city with my sister, my mother, to help, be there, nanny, all that stuff. And people are like, how can y'all afford to do that? And I'm like, because our family owns rentals, right? Because it wasn't a big deal. But I realized some people can't even afford childcare or afford people to move around what they want. So when I see Purpose Pit say, what about mothers who can't find a job because they won't hire mothers? Again, the way the internet works, the only way we would know you a mother is if you're at home and you can't finish. I mean, I've been on the phone all week long with insurance companies. I hear dogs, cats, children, people falling in the background. Trust me, that's not an excuse. And I'm not trying to minimize your situation. I'm just saying at some point you're gonna have to be heavy on the computer, right? Because then that's your equalizer. Because 8 to 3 kids is gone. Really 7 to 3. Because they be getting these kids on the bus early. So it's like you have to utilize the time you have. And even if I think I shared a community tab, or might not have, ACX, which it basically is a company that's converting all this stuff your kids are learning to audio books, to Kindle books, audible.com. They're paying people $50 an hour to read. Can you speak English? can you read this book for 10 hours to people? Here's $500. You know, so there's some things people are just going to have to honestly let go of, because it, you know, my other question is, if you can't work all around, can the father work more? Can you leave the kids with the father? I mean, there's a lot of questions I would say in that, but I don't mean any disrespect.
Well,
it's true about Lionel Richie. Yes, he's been in real estate. He's big out there.
Well, the thing now is, if what I tell a lot of folks, a lot of broke people are making rich decisions, and you don't really have the money to do a lot of things. A lot of people out here trying to, a lot of people are trying to get out here and live the life that they know they can't afford. It is ridiculous. And I live in South Carolina. I see people all the time trying to live more than what the income can bring in. You know, you have people trying to mean mug, that's what they call it, riding around in a Lexus or whatnot, $50,000 car, when stuff down here is relatively cheap, but you don't have a transferable skill set. That's the word. That's what I was thinking about. Many people don't have a transferable skill set. Basically, if I make $190,000 at a job, can I go to another job and get $190,000? Many people, that's what's holding a lot of people back, because you have an on-the-job skill set. For instance, I do part-time work for a company reading computer science lessons. I don't have to physically be anywhere. They just send the lessons to me, and it's a contract job. I found that on Indeed. And basically, I just, not only am I learning how to do Python, it's keeping my learning capabilities up, because they're creating content for a K through 12 school, and now they're about to do AP classes. So that's another thing that can keep your skill set relevant. It'll also allow you to build on other things that I forgot to actually how to program at one time, because if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And I'm learning Python on my own a little bit more. But one of the big things I try to get people to see is you need to be marketable and have a skill set. You need to have 5 to 10 things you can do. You not only could be a programmer, you can write, you can
Wait, hold on 1 second. 1 second. I'm going to have a moment here, a mini vent, just a mini. 380 people here. Thank you. Hit the like button. You may not like me after this. The difference is, if you're watching this channel, we have over 2,000 videos of opportunities for you to either start a business, get a job that pays more, or different opportunities. It's not over till you say it's over. You cannot have a community that's waiting on a dream of reparations. Trust me, this country has already done the math. There's more Hispanics than us. There's other groups that are trying to recruit here every day and every night. So I get it. This isn't just the plight of Black people. This is the plight of poor white people. Poor Black people, especially though, and it's going to get worse for people who aren't planning ahead. And the problem that we're dealing with in our community is we're reactive instead of proactive. Now, say what you want about the poor white people, they will pack it up and they will move to the woods. They will pack it up and go to the van life. They will pack it up and go on somewhere, because they've already looked at where this chart is going, and they can't stay here anymore. I live here in Austin, Texas, right at the edge before Pflugerville, and all the people are still right now to the last minute like, I'm trying to move out there, girl. The houses and prices are crazy. How long you been in Austin? 12 years. You talk to Black people, girl, them prices used to be $50,000. I won't pay that to live out there. Live out where? It's less than a suburb now. Like, you're already late to the program. You're reacting. And so I'm not trying to bash those channels, but after I watch those 2 people, I want to jump out a window, because it's like, life is over. I don't subscribe to that. You know what I mean? So no disrespect to them whatsoever, but don't come over here with like, yeah, you should watch them because they're talking about we need to do reparations. Like, baby, guess what? The cavalry ain't coming. It's not.
Exactly.
The number 1 killer of Black people is stress. So I strongly suggest you get yourself de-stressed by getting some more money in your pocket. That's all my little 2 rant, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was saying about the transferable skill set. Just go on, do job hunting. Just go out there and look and see. Basically, I said this in the first video I did with Erica. You should be applying for jobs just to see if they want to talk to you, to see how your skill set is, because the world now, brick and mortar places are about to be obsolete. So everything is going to be done from a computer. And basically, if you have a computer, you can work from anywhere. You could live down here in South.
$200. I bought every laptop in this office, and guess what happened? I bought $1,000 laptop for one of the staff members and $200 laptops for everybody else. Guess which laptop's still working without a problem?
$200 laptops.
$200 laptop. So when people sit out here like, Erica, we ain't got no laptop money, you're lying. Now go ahead.
And you know, the thing is, you have to invest. You have to look at things. Another thing is too, you have to think about where you want to see yourself at. It is February 23rd, 2021. You got to think about where you want to see yourself at in 2030. Basically, I don't like to deal with, since, you know, a lot of men do things for women. If you are out here trying to make yourself better to attract women, you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble. You should be doing this to improve yourself. You should be trying to buy land for yourself. You shouldn't be buying all these cars and all this other stuff. A lot of money is wasted on stupid things, and nobody wants to invest in education. So with the pandemic, a lot of the teachers been teaching remotely. I've said this to numerous people, and they won't believe what I said. High school education is going to be privatized. Basically, you're gonna have a teacher from You're going to have a teacher from Nebraska teaching your child where I'm at in South Carolina, because the older teachers are retiring. Teachers don't get paid enough. If you go online right now, they're already starting to hire for jobs like that. They'll just reciprocate your certification. So your son is 8 years old. He's very athletic, but he reads like a 2-year-old. So what do you think is going to happen when he gets in the world with people like myself and Erica? We don't, what's this? One of the things people have to realize, Black people, nobody care what your upbringing was. Nobody care who your mama, your daddy, whether you came from an abused person, because the first thing they're going to say, I'm going to Google somebody that made it out of those circumstances. So that is a mediocre excuse. So your son is 8 years old. He'll be 16 before you can snap your fingers. He can't read or write legibly. He doesn't even know what a FAFSA is. Do you know how many kids I've talked to, you filled out your FAFSA? What's a FAFSA? Have you talked?
I used to work in financial aid. I can tell you, they wanted us to fill it out for them.
And you ask them, how many people in your family have you talked to that have finished college? This is going to offend a lot of people. There's a difference in finishing college and going to school and dropping out. There's a difference in somebody having the degree in an envelope sitting up in their room versus somebody saying, you know what, I dropped out. Because I read the other week or last week, most of the student loan debt is for people that never finished college.
That never finished. $35,000 is on the average.
And people start stuff and not finish it. You know, we'll go pledge, join a sorority or fraternity, but at the end of the day, when it's time to say, hey, man, I got this $90,000 job I want to recommend you for, man, why every job require a degree? You shouldn't have dropped out of college 5 years ago. You were along, you know, people were along with, let's say somebody was along with you or me. They quit, said, why did you quit school? Nobody, you had the money, your family, nobody was sick. You didn't get a medical ailment. And the thing is, you quit school. What's your skill set now? You're working in a plant. You work for UPS.
You got to get cert. You got to get certified somewhere.
You're not a UPS driver. The drivers make good money. You don't drive. You don't do the planes. You don't like the pilots. So what are you going to do? Everybody's looking for a fast way to get rich with the least amount of work. You know, one of the things about electricity always seeks the least path of resistance. So all of y'all want to make $120,000 a year, but not put in any work. Life does not work like that. And we try to get people to do it the right way. Said, you could try to sell dope. You could try to do other stuff. You're going to do it the right way in the game of life, because just as sure as you and I have failed trying to do things, you have to fail. And a lot of people are like, I never failed at anything. You need to, you know, the first thing
you ain't done enough.
I want to push in a pool of water and say, you need to learn how to swim. Go ahead, fail. This is life.
So we got two things I'm going to address. B. Ben said, Erica, you got me trying to learn SQL because of your show. Please go watch the show with Miss Tamika and look at the Women in Linux. Again, very helpful information. A lot of y'all can get this free education. If you're trying purpose fit, I'm not going to attack you, but I kind of am. It's not on purpose. I just want to very much clarify. Well, all the tech writers, jobs I see on Indeed ask for 4 years experience as entry level, plus interview is going to go, okay. Follow instructions. If you are a part of Kamoy's class, doesn't she teach you how to make a portfolio? Doesn't she teach you how to set up your LinkedIn so that recruiters are calling you? A lot of y'all don't follow instructions. If you set up your LinkedIn right, connect with SNS Consulting, connect with Mentor Shelley, people will call you. People with skills get calls every day from LinkedIn. I still get calls from LinkedIn to be somebody's department manager. I ain't done department management in years. I had to take it off my LinkedIn because it's ridiculous. So again, fix your resume, fix your LinkedIn, try. This is someone throwing salt on something, and I hate that because it's basically saying, well, I couldn't figure out how to do it, so I can't. Miss Tamika already told you, men will literally apply for a job with just one of the 16 requirements. Women will be like, well, I don't have 4 years experience. It doesn't matter. Apply anyway. So I'm not trying to beat you up, but I just get really tired of like every time we have some kind of something on the show, somebody's like, well, they want you to have this, they want you to have that. That's life. They're going to want you to have some skills and some skin in the game. Guess what? Apply anyway. IB 299. What are good ways for multiple streams of income? Make more money.
Yeah,
like I'm at the point where I'm like, you don't even need to be considered. When I was delivering pizzas and being an apartment manager, I was making $72,000 a year together combined. So I was able to just send my pizza money over into Sunrise and Lending Club and doing all that stuff. I was able to do all those because I had the money. It was just me, a single person, and the second job at Loan was making $2 to $3 grand a month, and I was able to just shift that money over. A lot of y'all are asking about streams of income and you make $30K a year. It don't matter. Because even if you take 10% of your income, which is $3 grand, okay, you put $3 grand away. Good. But guess what? 10% returns on $3 grand is what? $300. You need to make more money. And there's plenty of people we have on the channel for more multiple streams of income. Go back and watch them.
And one thing is, I know, the hospitality field, the hospitality industry got hurt a lot because a waiter or waitress some nights could have made $2,000 to $3,000, and you had some folks relying on that. Just say in a good big city, a waitress could have made $4,000 a week off tips because tips you don't have to put it down as income. So basically, when you file taxes, you don't have to claim the tips. So you had people living a high lifestyle like that. Now restaurants. I don't know if you've probably seen it. Now they in some areas they have a robot that can bring the food to you. Uber Eats, DoorDash has pretty much taken the hospitality fact out of everything because now you can get the food delivered to you. And there are a lot of restaurants, a lot of the restaurants that have poor customer service, they're now dying to get people to come eat there. I said it the other day. I was talking to my fiance. I said, there are a lot of small businesses that did people wrong, and a lot of them are getting what they deserve because they treated people like crap. Now they are literally begging people to come eat at their restaurant or do business with them. What people don't realize, the consumer, you have a great credit score, when you have great income, when you know what you're doing. Don't ever be pressured and make an emotional decision because this is how they'll get you. Oh, the interest rate gonna go up. I don't care about that. Somebody will take my business and I can negotiate. Because if you go buy a car lot now, it hasn't happened. Car dealerships have to pay a fee for each car out there. That's why certain dealerships, when people ride by them and say, oh man, they keep missing cars. The cars keep turning up missing. No. They either pay that fee or the dealership comes and gets it and ships it somewhere else. So nobody's worrying about cars right now. Everybody's buying houses. What people don't realize is eventually, I've been trying to figure it out too. How are all the houses being bought up when we got $500 billion of deferred mortgage and loan payments? Something is going to give. There is no way this many people can buy houses and can afford a mortgage. I keep saying it all the time. Somebody out there would say, well, you just don't know what's going on. I said the government released the other day saying they had $500 billion in rent and mortgages that had not been paid since March of 2020. How every time I get on there to look for houses, they're under contract or Oh,
see, I think you were talking about cameras. They come to cut up.
I watch ABL.
Do you know how hard it is to make a TikTok video? And these grown adults learn how to make a TikTok video so they can do the put your head on the shoulder challenge. And I'm sitting here like, if you got all the brains to figure out TikTok at 35, 36, 37, 38, get your ass on the computer. This just don't make no sense.
I watched ABL the other day. I know exactly where that is coming from. I watched but
well, I've had people talk, like I can tell you right now, this channel's analytics, 72% of y'all watch it on your phone, and then a percentage of y'all watch it via a game console. 20% via a game console. So that means you got a PS5 or something you connect to your TV, and then the other 2% watch it on their TV. So again, I apologize. I got the 4K camera now, so you can watch it on TV better. But listen, this is true. This is true. Listen, there's a black teacher that was talking about here in East Austin. He could not get the kids to figure out Excel or how to attach documents. And people said, oh, he's lying. Oh, he's a liar. And I'm like, why would a teacher go on TV and talk about the need for computer science? And he's with teenagers who are literally, they know how to TikTok, Instagram, do all this stuff, could not finish his computer class. And he was getting in trouble for failing people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because as a professor, if you fail too many students, there's a curve. I know this from personal experience from doing it. You can't fail the students. You can't fail. If you fail so many, then they're going to throw a red flag and say, why do the students keep failing the class? So the student's going to go to the dean and say, well, why out of 20 students, 15 of them keep failing your class? But if there is a history of them not turning in work, it's justified. But if there's a history of them completing work, is a whole different case. But we're living in times to where, you know, as ABL put up, people don't know how to use computers. Everything now is, it's just a sad world that we're living in. There are people that don't know how to use Microsoft Office. There are people that don't even know how to write a resume in their 30s. And how are you going to get a job if you can't write a resume? A resume is one of the most important documents you're going to write in your life. Your resume is pretty much how you sell yourself. But a lot of people, you don't put a picture on a resume. You know, we have people that discriminate against people. Never put your picture on the resume. I said that way people can toss it to the left or toss it to the right. And you find people that don't know how to use resumes. You have people that have never written a resume. I said, how are you in your 30s and 40s and never had to write a resume? Because they worked the same job for 20 years and they never wanted to advance. And there are people don't know about letters of recommendation. People don't know about networking, as you talk about. We live in a world where you have everything at your fingertips, but you don't know how to do anything else. You'll know how to go on WorldStar and look for items, but if we tell you to go search for, like the guy was saying, an SQL class, can you find that? We're just living in a different time. You know, TikTok memes. But people don't realize a lot of those applications are doing what they call deep learning. So when a lot of y'all got criminal past and you wonder how the cops found me so fast, they're using facial recognition. You created a TikTok video with your face in there. All of this software is meant to track a lot of things. So we're just living in the last days of a lot of stupidity, and a lot of people don't understand. You said at the top of the video, things are really about to get bad for a lot of people. The people that have been preparing for the last 15 to 20 years are going to be okay, but the people that played around with life, the game is about to be over. And now you're going to be crying because your credit is going to be messed up. You'll be crying about people need to try to buildings are becoming. Yeah, that's a true thing too.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm conflicted on this, and the reason I'm conflicted on this because I do see a crash coming in commercial very quickly. But here's the problem: people can only do so many hours a day with their family and children. I'm gonna just tell you like it is. There's a building downtown, and it had at one point in time it had 1,000 people in it, and he said now there's like 40, and it's all men. And they were asking them, they were surveying them like, why do you keep coming in? We let y'all stay home for the whole year. Y'all good. And the company had to like make them conglomerate on 2 floors. All these different companies, and they made them all, stick on 2 floors to keep the power and light bill down. And the guys are like, I can't take it. I have to have some normal. And so we have all these Americans like, oh, it's gonna get back to normal. No. This is the new normal. And I'm gonna say this, and y'all can get offended. I had a friend, he's in real estate, and he is white, and we were talking, and I was like, about gentrification and people having to move, and that really is sad. And he said, well, what's the purpose? If they're just gonna sit on their front porch and do nothing over there, who cares if they gotta move? Now, I'm in a room full of people that look like inside hand, and I had to like hold my tongue because I was gonna say, it's their damn house, they can do what they want. But there is a layer of underclass where there is a lot of lottery, where people are just kind of loafing around all day long. Several of my friends were saying when their husband first started working from home with Dale a couple of years ago, the neighbors are like, oh, honey, did he get laid off? Is he okay? And she said, yeah, you can see him in the window. He's on the computer. Oh, I thought he was just in there just on the computer. No, he works from home now. And see, so this concept, even 5 years ago when he started working from home, is still so far removed from people that they're like, her husband's home all day? He ain't got no job.
Yeah.
And so that's how behind certain groups of people are right now. So Tina, congrats, you get to go home, but there are a lot of people that mentally cannot take it. Like for a while before one of my employees had quit, he was like, I have a 5-month-old. I really need to come in the office because she be hollering all day. And I was like, okay.
Oh, I don't know if you've seen the business, but there's this business now to where you could put like an office behind where your house is at, like a little separate office.
She said, yeah.
And people are saying, man, I'm tired of being around the family. I'm tired of being home. Even though I'm able to work from home a lot, I have to go for a ride. I got to go be around people. I cannot be isolated. I live in a rural area. I have to go to the local Walgreens just to see the presence of people or talk to somebody. And that is true, God. I'm not advocating selling pharmaceuticals. I'm truly against selling that stuff. So, but a lot of places, this is the new norm. A lot of places, the 40-hour work week was becoming obsolete before, but the United States, they standardized the 40-hour work week during the last part of the 19th century, the beginning of the 20th century. People working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week is getting old. Now some people's productivity levels have went up, some people's has went down, but a lot of companies at the end of the day, they're trying to save money. And the biggest thing is you're an employee. You got to remember you're expendable. So a company will get rid of you to save money. So don't sit here and ever think, oh man, I've been working for this company for 15 years. They won't get rid of you. You come there and they say, oh yeah, we pulled the tab out the bucket. It's your turn to go. Because it happens every day. And a lot of people are putting their whole life into a job. A job is supposed to provide you money to do what you really want to do. Don't spend your whole life working at a job. I'm 36. I'm not even worrying about 401k. I'm not going to work 30 years to be saying, oh man, 401k. 401k is not going to take care of me. I got to take care of myself. Social Security, the same thing. I check my Social Security statements. So people will say, you're going to work here 30 years. I said, man, it makes me shake to work at a place for 30 years. I will not work a place for 30 years.
It said, don't make decisions in your 35-year-old mind that your 50-year-old body will regret. There's 2 comments in the section. I'm going to do this. Don't talk shit. And they were $55,000 and the down payment was $3,000. And I remember people were leaving college, and instead of like, let me take this $3,000 I just got from student aid or my student refund check for the summer and get this property, with all you had to show was you had an offer letter for a job to qualify for the housing, because this is when housing was like still lax. People were getting brand new cars. And I remember my mom begged and pleaded, like, please, I'll take this $3,000 from my military retirement, my TSP, and I'll put you in this townhome, this condo. And I was like, oh, Mom, I don't want that. I want this car. And to this day, I look back, all those people who invested young, parents just spent $3,000 in that one area we're talking about. They were able to have multiple properties now. And then Ray of Sunshine said, so sometimes it's not as big as you think, but it is. Some people have parents taken from their 401k to get their child a house. It does happen. Hedge funds are buying up houses. Y'all, if you're in the rise of 20%, I'm gonna probably break it down on Thursday. I know I've been delaying it, but I've been in some crazy level training and like what we can call a hedge fund, what we can call a SPAC. All these things are just paperwork, and it's mind blowing. So I'll talk a little bit about it there, but go ahead.
Yeah, the thing is, you just got to prepare for the future. One of the biggest things is that a lot of people listening to us, they're not prepared for what's about to come. And well, the education system, to me, to an extent, the education system has failed us, but you also have to educate your children yourselves
But it
because
didn't fail. What was his job? The education system was to keep you at school long enough for your parents to go work at the factory,
yeah,
get off work, and y'all can eat dinner together and go to bed. And it was just to teach you like enough how to read and write, the basics. In the 1960s, that's when they started taking plumbing out of school, electrical out of school, construction out of school. There are many people, if you go look back in New York's history, that they left New York high schools with skills. And they were able to go, basically help build New York in the 1960s and 70s. Go look at some of the old photos on cranes where the Native American people, because there are a bunch of Native Americans in New York. Look them up, the Shinnecock Indians. They're this color complexion. They were on a lot of the job sites doing construction because their school got out earlier than other New Yorkers. So, yeah.
And one of the other things is, I've seen this firsthand. There are schools now, data analytics, I've talked about that. Data analytics is becoming big. Schools now are even writing curriculums for this kind of stuff. There are very few degrees now that have what are you laughing at me?
I can put everything on the screen. I sure do.
Yeah.
I'll put everything on the screen if I want. Go ahead.
Here's the people that are listening, data analytics is another field that's going to get very big. We have so much data, we don't know what to do with it. And they need people to analyze the data. It's been psychologically been proven. People want to be told what to do. And yes, I commented on ABL's statement. This is very true. So when people are out there when you're out there on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, most of the crimes now that the cops solve, they don't have to do field work. They just get on a Facebook account, get a subpoena, and say, we see everything.
You ever see the criminals when they got a thing full of money? And I'd be like, what are you doing? It's the craziest thing, and they'll show the money. It's so crazy.
People just don't realize you're putting your life on the internet for display. You're trying to do it for clout. That's what I think that's what people call it, clout or whatnot. And you don't realize every time you do something, you don't need to share it with the world. Who are you trying to impress? A lot of y'all living your lives to impress other folks that don't even like you. You buying a $400,000 or $500,000 house with a $2,000 a month mortgage. I've broken down the math. I think I did it on the first video. If you buy a $2,000 a month house and an $800 a month car, that's $2,800 out of your pockets. People, that would make me shake. Why do I need a $400,000 or $500,000 house? If I was making $1 million a year, I still would try to buy me a $225,000 house.
Well, you probably get closer to the 400,000. I'm just saying,
I get a little bit of acreage. But,
a little bit more. You need a little bit of space between you and your neighbor.
I get some space, but the thing is, I try to get people to see $2,800 a month is gone out of your paycheck before you even spent money on other necessities. And y'all are living life too fast. Do you know the stress of not having enough money? This is the stress I tell people. I like to have the stress of, man, I rather have the stress of I work too much. I need to force myself to stop working because I make enough money. I don't want to have the stress of I can't make ends meet. Oh man, the bills and the rent overdue. Why? And the thing is, I ask people to do a self-observation. Why are you in debt? If you're in debt to get to school, to get to another goal, but if you're in debt to buy properties, to make more money, it is different. If you're in debt with a car that would do the same thing a regular car would do, you are in debt that I call, or somebody else would call, stupid debt. You got to realize, why are you taking these chances to get into debt? Somebody gets into debt to go to medical school to become a medical doctor. Many people get into debt for stupid purposes. And, during Christmas time, we remember the Xbox Series X. We had people, I saw it on Facebook, talk about PS5 or Xbox Series X. Half of y'all, $600 would break you. You need to be taking that $600 and trying to find a way to save onto it or to pay your bills. But as with credit cards, this is how they get people. Credit cards are one of the fastest ways to make your credit and the fastest way to ruin your credit, because if you got a $20,000 limit and your minimum payment is only $100 with a 20% interest, it doesn't look like a lot of money. You're like, oh man, I got $20,000. Before you know it, you got $5,000 on there. Before you know it, you got $15,000 on your credit card. Before you know it, it's almost maxed out. And you're looking at all the purchases. It was nothing for an emergency. It was for stupid stuff. Plane tickets, trips to the DR, trips to Vegas, trips to, all kinds of stupid stuff. And people don't realize at the end of the day, you're going to lay in your bed and look up at the ceiling and wonder, what in the hell did I do with my life? Because you are going to be in so much debt. When you're in debt and you're renting an apartment, when you should be living in a house, you're going to say, my credit score is 5. My credit score is 450. What am I doing with my life to why my credit score is 450? Did I lose my job? No, I've been making money. What I always tell people every day is, not every day, every month, is to look at where your money is going. Don't just pull your card out and swipe it. Say, oh man, I got money allotted for this. I got money allotted for that. Negotiate prices. Just because something is a price doesn't mean you need to buy it. Switch car insurances. I switch car insurance. I go for the cheap. It's all about business. If you want my business, I got to have car insurance. I switch car insurance. And a lot of people are too afraid to get out there and say, the worst thing that can happen is you stay with the same car insurance. You got to think long term. You got to think 20 to 30 years. I know a lot of men would disagree with it, but men, to me, you really don't know yourself till in your middle 30s or late 30s. That's when you should be getting married, because the kind of money you can make at 20, you couldn't make at 37. I could not make the kind of money, the little bit I don't make much, but the maturity that I had at 20 and the maturity at 36 is a big difference.
Listen, I pray for all my friends that got married young, because I've seen them, they look stressed. Like that man got on their last nerve. Well, but the people have to grow. People have to grow up. People have to grow. But I'm not going to be on here all night. But me and Dr. Nick, I'm going to bring you on again, because I know there's like a couple things we need to still. We didn't even get to today. But if y'all see the article in the description, it's 36 million people they think are going to be out of the workforce. And then there's 31 million who are Nick Taylor rich, and they want to just go home because they got all this money and they a little bit older. So you got a combination effect going on. But there's going to be a lot of people in the middle who are moving in with grandma and Aunt Shirley and them, and moving down south with their South cousins, because they don't have a plan, and that's a really scary place to be in.
Well, I just put in the link, my Calendly link. I appreciate you helping me with that to do consultations for anybody. I've had people come through, and I'm glad I was able to help them out.
Thank you, Mark A. posting stuff. I appreciate all of it. But yeah, y'all, I mean, we're gonna have them on again. There's some other stuff we have to talk about. But yeah, if you're a young Black man who's into tech, I remember, and so everybody if this puts it in context, I went to school with Roberto Blake in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Not only did I go to school with him, I ran cross country and track with him. And I remember, just being honest, women not being interested in nerdy guys like him. And this dude is hecka rich now. You know what I mean? Living his best life because he used tech to his advantage. He learned graphic design early in life. He used his skills to get better with talking and money. And what you're going to see, and I keep trying to tell y'all this, what you're going to see, and yes, Calendly is Black owned, right? And I love how he didn't say anything to the last minute. What you're going to see is a lot of people who are paying attention and getting to tech now, like before the 2 years, before Kamala got 500,000 people coming in with H-1B visas, you're going to see a drastic difference in the quality of life, the quality of food. They're talking about synthetic beef. All my friends that make over 100+ grand a year, they get their food directly from farmers. They get their food directly from co-ops. They get their food directly from community-supported agriculture. Not even at Whole Foods. They literally get it straight from farmers and get it dropped to their house. They buy whole cows at a time. And you just want to put yourself in a position financially that you have a choice. And that's the whole point of this whole video, is like, we just want you guys to be able to have a choice. And the choice comes if you got some money. And also borrow money from Nick Taylor and Xanatos Clutch. They have all the monies in the chat. Dr. Dix, tell them where they can catch you at.
I put my link in the chat box, the calendar link. I sent it out to Doug and I placed it in there. So if you see, you can put it up.
Put it inside the description too under the video. Tell your lovely fiance I said hello.
I will.
Stop telling my age on this channel, and you have a good afternoon. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. We're gonna have another one. If you haven't seen the movie Falling Down, go check that movie out. I'm pretty sure Netflix will probably have it. If not, Hulu, somebody will have it. It's good stuff. All right, Dr. Dick, tell them where they can find you again.
Calendar. Let me put the link in there again. It's in there. It is in the chat box. Calendar.com/Dr. Dix.
All right. So, okay. All right, everybody. This is your girl, Erica, from the Classic Climb blog. This is Dr. Dix. You know, I've got the jokes. And we'll be back on again and talk about some more technical stuff. And hopefully next time we'll have Tamika and Chris Johnson come on. I think a great panel of tech people and people talking about automation will be useful in the future. Later, you guys.